Hello, Atlantia.
Hola, Atlantia.
So we wanted to take a minute tonight and talk about a couple of three things. One, the recent directives that we've received from the board of directors. We wanted to revisit the subject of virtual courts with you, and we wanted to talk about SCA membership. These are really the three subjects we have today. So I think everyone is aware that the board of directors, after requests from the different kings and queens of across North America and really across the entire SCA, asked for some direction on what we should be doing as kingdoms with COVID, in particular thought to how do we handle events. As we get closer and closer to the winter eventing season, and we get into 12th nights and we get into large commitments of cash for halls and things of that nature, this becomes very, very relevant to us. As well as, what does it mean for rain cycles? What does it mean for the current kings and queens? How is all of this going to impact us, and how are we going to manage this? So we don't have all the answers, but I think the board of directors did a great job of giving us some guidance and giving us some direction as a kingdom of what they want to empower us to make local decisions based on local conditions, and what they feel comfortable with as the society moving forward. So you want to take a minute and talk about events versus activities?
Yeah, absolutely. So what the resolution said was that all events, all in-person events, are canceled until the end of January 2021.
Cancel, postponed.
Cancel, postponed.
Whatever language.
Nothing's happening in person for events until the end of January 2021. It does not say that no activities at all can occur. In fact, it leaves local activities, which means things like local fighter practices, local A&S gatherings. That is left up.
Archery, drone
weapons, small, local activities. Those are left up to the kingdoms with the kingdoms, the crowns, and the seneschals to decide how to move that forward. So we, as a kingdom, have the ability to have local activities. In addition, should our kingdom improve, should the conditions improve to a point that we say, hey, we think it's safe, we can actually have an event, our state restrictions have gone up and the numbers are down and everything's looking hunky-dory, then we can send a variance request into the Society Seneschal and say, hey, we'd like to have an in-person event.
Exactly. So right now, what are we going to do about having local activities? The Kingdom Seneschal has been working on proposals for how do we regulate local activities in this environment. Those recommendations and refinements that have been done with the input from the Baron and Baronesses, input from the grade officers, the work of the Seneschal, and be honest, work from us. We've put in our comments to that also, is currently under review by the grade officers. I would expect the Kingdom Seneschal is going to release these guidelines for how we reopen the kingdom to local events, local activities. I want to be careful, not events, activities. And we look for that guidance to come out sometime in the next, I hope, 7 days. As long as we can get consensus. We're going to get consensus. We're not going to put out a policy that we don't have good agreement across with, and we're going to believe in what we're asking here. We're very close to being done with it, and I think it's going to be a guideline that we can feel good about and move forward with. So we need to give the Kingdom Seneschal a little more time. She's going to publish this just as soon as she understands the need for doing it, and she's working with the best interest of all of us at heart. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's in process, and it's already gone through a couple of different revisions, and those revisions are continuing to be made. She'll have to send that back out for everybody to, like Anton says, consensus, sign off and says, yay, verily, we're good with this. We think this makes sense. We don't see any mistakes. And then she'll send it out.
So the next subject we want to talk a little bit about is virtual courts. We've been clear in our stance on virtual courts is that Our challenge is we believe the two most important awards that we really give in the SCA is the first award that you really get, which is the AOA, and maybe the last award you ever really get, which is a peerage. We don't feel confident that giving those awards virtually is going to convey the feelings, the love, the commitment, the desire to have your peers see you and recognize you as we can do in person. But we've said that since really the middle part of April, from coronation till now. Now that we have some direction from the board of directors that tells us we're not going to have an in-person event till the end of January, best case, we're going to relook at what are virtual courts and what are the feelings of Atlantians about virtual courts. Should we do them as business only? Should we do them as recognition? Should we do them as data boys? Or do you want to see awards given this way? We're going to put together a survey. It's going to come out to you through the Kingdom email. We're going to ask you to respond to the survey, and we're going to look at that to help us drive what we think are the right ways to do this. We'll keep you appraised of what's going on with it. I would think I would hope by the end of this weekend we can get this out to you. And I ask you to forward it to other people in Atlantia that don't have it. I don't care if you're a member or a non-member. If you live in Atlantia, I want to hear from you. We both do, with what you think on how we should do this. We don't have, the holy grail on this to know how to divide it up and what the right thing to do is. So we're looking for feedback, and we're open to different things. Take a look at what we send you as a survey, give us responses to it, and we're going to take that very seriously. Anything you want to add to that?
No, I mean, we want to take the temperature of the kingdom. We want your input. We're sitting here as your king and queen, but it's important to us that we do what's important to you. And that's what we're trying to find out.
Final subject, and this will be a short thing. This is it's just there's been a lot of important things come out, and we want to touch base with all of them. Membership. All of us are disappointed that we're not going to have in-person events, but I think all of us, if we look in our heart of hearts, we're really not surprised by it. We know that if you're really saying, I need to take care of my family, I need to take care of my friends, I need to take care of senior members of the community, that there could be some exceptions, but I think from what we've seen, the majority of the kingdom believes this is the right course. But we have also seen the comments that say, well, why should I be a member? If there's not going to be events, why should I be a member? I can offer you this. For us, membership's really not an option. We believe in the SCA. We met each other in the SCA. We believe our children were conceived in the SCA. Our best friends through life have been met and endeared to us through the SCA. And we can't envision not participating. So the SCA is having a hard time right now. This is not a great time to have an organization that's based on in-person events. No one planned for COVID. Our membership, we've renewed for 3 years. We're going to invest in this lifestyle that we believe in. We're going to invest in, and what we believe we get for a payback is an organization, a framework that allows us to touch base with every one of you, to say hi. In the past, it would mean hugs, a shared drink. I don't know what it's going to exactly mean in the future. It's going to mean something like that because we're going to still care about each other. We're going to still love each other. And we're going to still want to see each other get recognition, get awards, and do well. There's very few things that you're going to ever feel good about that's going to equal the fact of watching a student get recognized, to watch a friend get elevated. We can only do that if we have an organization to do it. And for us, Our offer as Anton and Leonard is the same that many other people have made. We recognize that with COVID, with employment, that a lot of people are in some very, very tough times right now. If you have a problem with membership and you want to handle that privately, PM us privately. PM some of the other people that have put it out there. We're quite serious that we want to help you. We can't fix all the problems, but we're willing to work with you to make sure that if this is important to you, we don't want you to have to make the choice between, do I buy food, do I buy medicine, or do I do my SCA membership? Let your friends that are in a better position help you with that if that's your decisions. And what we want to do is keep the family as whole as possible and move forward until we get to a point where we can start getting back together. So don't want to be too dire.
No, and if you have the means to get your own membership, we encourage you to do that. It is disheartening that we can't have in-person events, but the framework of the SCA still has to go on. There are still some expenses that have to be paid. Corporate insurance has got to be paid regardless if we want the SCA to actually exist going forward. There's some other expenses that have to exist, and those memberships help contribute towards that. And certainly we want to be able, when we can have in-person events, to have the wherewithal to go and get started quickly.
So that's our quick message tonight. We want to end by saying thank you to the board of directors for giving us direction. We asked for it. You responded very quickly. You paid attention to all the letters from all the different kingdoms, both the king and queens. I know the seneschals gave comment. There are rules that govern how North America is going to be done. There's different rules for Drachenwald and different rules for Lochat. So I think it was a very, very responsive and regulated answer. And I really appreciate the fact that we asked for help and direction was given. So.
And virtual events are still a possibility. The resolution says virtual events are still a go.
And we're going to take advantage of them.
We are.
And we'll talk more about it Sunday, but Pensick in the backyard. We'll be there. Hope to see you and yours.
Thank you.
Cheers, you guys.
Good night.